I'm tired of being the invisible man. The invisible man. Oh, the invisible man.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this impromptu and last-minute version of our episode of The Invisible Man. This guy on my right is Ryan Janz, bassman extraordinaire. His middle name is David, but he doesn't use it, even though he should.
And this handsome man over here, I'm going to try and not get my finger cut off, is Mark David Stallard. He uses his middle name even though he doesn't have to.
And we are. It's all in the mind. Now, that time it was the lag, even though we hadn't rehearsed.
It was the lag. We can blame the lag this time. But speaking of lag or lack thereof, did you notice that new crispy intro? Nice and smooth. Oh, well done, Mark. Oh, as always, well done on all our animation and bits.
Yes, indeed. That great. One. So that one was choppy every single time we played it, and it was driving us nuts. Anyhow. So even in the studio that was choppy. I just finally got around to it. Just not that I'm that good. It's just that I was too lazy to do it earlier. Anyhow, so we've got a couple of things that we want to talk about. I'm actually off to England on Tuesday, so for a couple of weeks. So pretty much for the most of October, there's not going to be an Invisible Man show. Maybe at the end. And so it was like just last night about 11 o'clock, I texted Ryan and said, hey, you feel like doing a show at the last minute? And so we kind of threw this one together quick. Didn't want to be silent for too long. But then we've also got a few things that we want to talk about. Phil may be joining us later. He wasn't sure. He had some other arrangements, things to do this morning. But if he can, he might. So, but a big shout out for Phil. Hello. So the three things that we want to talk about is the Canadian Homegrown Musicians Showcase. We went to a private screening a couple of weeks ago. We're going to talk about that. I've got a show coming up in England, in Yorkshire. So that's something you can. We'll talk about that a little bit. And then we've got a potential new show that we're talking about doing, which is kind of completely unrelated to music, but could be a lot of fun. Anyhow, so let's get on with the show. I think that's good enough for the introductions.
Alrighty. So we'll jump right into the Canadian Homegrown documentary. That's as good a place to start as any. So our good friend Carrie Luce Forsyth from Load was not only gracious enough to get us invites to the pre-screening, but was also a contributor and a participant in the project itself. So the whole project sort of centers around the struggles that bands, particularly bands, because it was focused here locally in Winnipeg and the surrounding area, are having, either getting radio play or just kind of getting going. And we've had similar themes like that on our shows, on the Musical Mire shows, where we've talked about our struggles as musicians, our experiences as musicians with good clubs, bad clubs, trying to get on college radio and all that kind of stuff. And so it fit right up in our alleys. Was right up in our alley, and so yep, we'll go. And of course, hey, who's going to turn down free tickets to an event at the Park Theater, right?
Yeah.
Great place. They've really given it a facelift from where it used to be. It was always kind of a unique building, but now it's got a really nice exterior to match its redone interior. So
yeah, actually, the first time that was the first time I was actually inside. I've been past it many times.
Oh, yeah, really? I've been to lots of shows. In fact, going back to the mid 90s, I want to say mid 1990s, one of my best buddies, his uncle bought that building, and she just a movie theater, and would play second run. So it would be like a second run theater. So we'd go through all the big venues, and then he'd get second runs. And we used to sit up in the projection room and watch bad movies. Movies that we'd never be able to get into, but you just go on upstairs and watch it through the projection. So saw 12 Monkeys in the theater when I was way too young to, and I didn't know what was going on. So, anyways, hang on, we got a visitor here.
Yeah, we heard her coming.
Yep, here she comes, my little sweetheart. You gonna come up? and say hi? Here we go.
Here we
There. Can you say
Hey!
hi, Mr. Mark?
Hi,
Can
Evelyn.
you wave?
Hey! No.
I
Oh,
think someone's just about to go down for an afternoon nap.
yep. And
Okay.
then after that, you can go for a nap.
Yeah. Imagine that.
We
Good
get
night, sweetie.
yeah, a man of a certain age needs need to have some downtime in the middle of the day.
I'm not too far off that age. I am not too far off that age where I might need a nap in the afternoon. Night night.
night, and morning. Right, well, however it works. Anyway.
I never know how it goes with a nap. Night. It works.
There we go. And that actually goes to the nature of the impromptuness of the show.
Yep.
Yeah, actually, it
indeed.
was actually quite a nice place there. There's a little. Was that, well, I'm not sure if it was really a reception area. Any other theatre would have been just a foyer. But there was you walk in the main doors. Nice. There's a bar there. Nice selection for those of you who imbibe. And then we had a bit of a reception. We met the director Ken Loxton, a super nice guy. I talked to him a bit afterwards as well. He has agreed to come on the show. So we'll just have to figure out the dates on that one. Yeah, so then we can find out maybe some, the dirty little secrets that happened in the background. That Luce said there wasn't too many, but we'll find out from Ken.
I think what we should do is we should have Luce on one week and Ken on the next, and then we can compare stories.
Well, as it turns out, it looks like we're going to have Luce on a lot more. She keeps asking to come on, so we can't say no.
Well, hey, I'm not going to stop because it's always a blast when Carrie's on the show.
For sure.
I'm not going to lie. Yep. It's great fun.
And she probably would have invited her on today if it wasn't all last minutes and we had no plans. Yeah, so it was actually pretty good. We actually got to meet all of the people. Actually, let's see. Talk about who was on it. So it was Load, of course, with Luce, Lady Lee and Blue Noise, Barry G. Player, Hamfist, and Bush Stones and the Lucky. I think I said that right.
Yeah, Bush Stones and the Lucky is how it.
Yeah,
I think you're correct.
Yeah, and I think we met all of them. We met all of those acts except for, was it Barry G. Player that wasn't there?
Yeah, he couldn't make it. He wasn't feeling very well, but apparently he was really promoting the show with Ken on a couple of local places. I think some local radio was getting it or was giving them the gear. So he apparently had really lost his voice and wasn't feeling too well. But
someone was at an Iron Maiden concert as well, right? Was that? Or was that just
that was part of Hamfist, I think.
Oh, okay, right. Yep.
Members
okay.
of Hamfist, Hamfist were probably there. So I think that was how that one shook out.
Yeah. So
I think all the performances. I think I like that one. Not Hamfist. I like Barry G. Player. I think he was just a phenomenal guitar player. Had a great stage presence. And
he was. He was enjoying it every single second of it. There was not a moment where he just wasn't oozing just fun and enjoyment or whatever.
You could see he's up there doing what he absolutely loves to do.
That was excellent, yeah. So the format was the acts. Each of them took turns. It was a focus mainly on the lead singer. But yeah, they took turns answering them. We didn't really hear the questions, but we got the answers to the questions. And there were a lot of musicians in that room, and there would be an occasional comment. I'm not going to give it away. I'm going to encourage you to go watch it. But there was a comment, and we go, yes! And then we're all shouting out, woohoo, or, yeah, that's right, yeah, you tell them. That was kind of quite funny with all of us in there.
Yeah. I think the hardest thing for me, though, is, and we've always tried to keep this balanced with, and hats off to Ken trying to direct the Q&A afterwards. Did as best he could with a bunch of ornery musicians who were a little too cynical and had once had big dreams of success and now are realizing just how difficult that success might be or how elusive it could be. We wanted to. It felt if you weren't careful, it would have just turned into a big gripe fest. And yeah, and I don't want to say that there isn't challenges for musicians because we've certainly covered them, and we certainly have had our moments where we're going to air our grievances, and that's all fine. That's all fine and dandy. But when you want to turn everything into that, well, okay, that there's a certain amount of we have to step back and say, okay, things like I don't necessarily like pop music, but if I played in a band that played all pop music and I could make a living at it, I'd be playing there. Right. That doesn't necessarily reflect my personal musical tastes, right? and maybe I might grow to like it just because I've did it for so long. But if you've got a genre that's not doing well, you have to be willing to change, right?
Yeah.
And I think I alluded it. I don't remember if it was in last week's show or on a musical Meyer. How you look at the difference between, say, Led Zeppelin 1, Led Zeppelin 2, Led Zeppelin 3, and then you compare that to like the last like Physical Graffiti and Through the Outdoor.
Mm-hmm.
Same band, same sound, same tone, different feel, and they evolved musically over time. And they realized that we can't keep playing stuff from Led Zeppelin. We can't play the same type of stuff from Led Zeppelin 1 at the Physical Graffiti timeline. Like we can play it in concert because people want to hear it, but we can't make music centered on that.
Right.
Right. So there's a certain amount of growing, and you get the sense that some of these people who are making the complaints, it's like, we've done this 1,000 times. How come people aren't liking us?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they don't like that genre.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time to either explore a different genre or move to a demographic that appreciates that genre.
Wow.
Those are your options. Now, we don't want to lose you as they're right, but but those are things you must probably have to consider, right?
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is if you're doing something 1,000 times and you're not getting a good response, maybe the thing you're doing is the problem, not the audience, right? Just Catherine says say hi. So hi, Catherine, for joining us from Fleetwood. It's good to have you joining us. As we didn't promote anyone that comes on, is a double bonus for us is watching us today, right? So it's good, and it's always a pleasure to have you in the audience, Catherine.
Absolutely.
You're not getting a good response, and maybe
hang on a sec.
The thing you're doing isn't.
Oh no!
Ryan likes our show so much, he's watching it.
What happened with that? Oh, no.
There we go.
Sorry, that was a stupid tech error. I've got things so crosswired here that if I don't have things, if I am not on top of things, all of a sudden it won't work. So,
well, I mean, it makes a change from it happening right at the beginning. Oh.
Well, we got to hear your smooth, creamy voice there.
Indeed. Yeah. Yes, baby. Yeah, that's. Oh, yeah. Right. or as my real voice is, yeah, baby, very yeah. My wife loves it when I do that. Anyhow, yeah. So
love is generous.
So I was saying you can find actually the movie is actually now available online. I discovered this morning. I hadn't realized. I just was checking out Ken Loxton's website and see if there was a link to where people could see it. It's actually on YouTube. So if you go to kenloxton.com after the show, not right now, after the show, go kenloxton.com and just kind of scroll down. You'll see the video, the link to. Well, it won't be a link. It's actually an embedded video. You can then open it up on YouTube and subscribe and all that other good stuff as well. So go check that out. But before you do, you can listen to the rest of us. So it was actually I don't think I've used it was a different format than I was kind of anticipating for a music documentary. Usually it would be a clip, a sound bite, and then a splash of music and a clip and a bit of a video, right? That kind of thing, right? But this was actually an in-depth, a fairly in-depth comment. So it was almost all the musicians and the artists talking in quite depth about a lot of things, a lot of issues, a lot of some negative things. There were some positive things too. And then the second half of the show was actual full live performances from all of those acts. So it was actually wasn't quite what I was expecting, but it worked. And in fact, at the end of it, and this is a made for TV documentary show, so it was supposed to be about 40, 50 minutes. And when it ended, it said to be continued, and I figured, they're just gonna pause it here, have a chat, and something else. It was actually that was the end of that episode, and I felt, oh no, that's it. More. There's not enough of this. So there was. So what were your thoughts then when you saw the to be continued?
Yeah, well, I mean, I agree with you. The how's the level of the sound? Is that still coming in through? I adjusted my mic, so I turned on my. Well, I was there. Okay, good. When we initially viewed it, I kind of had in my mind something similar to like you said, there's usually with musical documentaries or music focused documentaries, you'll have like an interview with 2 or 3 artists asking the same question, different answers, interjected or interspliced with like performance footage, and
Right.
or in the case of I was thinking of like the decline of Western civilization. It was a very kind of famous documentary about the LA punk scene in the 70s, and it kind of follows a similar pattern, but it's much quicker. It's more to the point, and then it's like only one or two. There's 1 or 2 songs interspliced in the interviewing, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
they'll play like an intro song, interview, performance song, interview a little more song. I was thinking it was going to be more like that. Instead, it was more like, hey, here's load, like 15 minutes, and here's a 3-minute clip of them playing, which is fine. I just picked load because they're the first one that came to mind, which is fine. I just was expecting a slightly different format.
Right.
When it said to be continued, I was scratching my head. I was like, are we adding more? What are we doing? And then all of a sudden they were like, hey, it was addressed. Like one of the first or second questions that was addressed. It was like, hey, what's the to be continued all about? And they're like, oh, we're going to plan on doing this going across Canada.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's right. Yeah, he said that he had wanted to call it Manitoba Homegrown, but I think the Farmers Market organization, I think, has stolen that already, and there was copyright issues.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was actually a really I would say eye-opening. It was really comforting actually to know that it's not just us that experience those things, and it's quite universal. Yeah, it was really great actually to meet everyone as well. Actually,
Yeah.
it was actually worth mentioning is when I stood up, I didn't stand up right, but I had a question right near the end, and I said, no, I mentioned that I thought it was too short. We needed it longer. And then I said, yeah, well, we're from we have a podcast, The Invisible Man, and we had like, I don't know, was it 2-3 people cheering? It's like, oh, people are starting to know who we are now.
And it wasn't just loose, right? Like,
yeah, no, it was.
Been on the show like a couple of times. It was like everybody's like, hey, right on, that's good. And then they're talking. You know, we got. You had some FaceTime with pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
I got talking to another guy who sort of covers media, and he's really interested in being on the show.
Yeah.
But right now, he's so in with the election that's going on here. He said he's not until after the election. I was like, I'm not going to take you away from that, man.
Yeah.
That's going to be your bread and butter. Like, no, go do that, and we'll carve out some time later. So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know if we have a lot more to say about that, but yeah, go to kenloxton.com, and yeah, there's a link from there, and you can see the whole thing after this show. Okay, anyhow.
Yeah. No, and it's totally worth watching. If you're just a music fan, not a musician, and you're just a music fan, and kind of want to get an idea of what it's like to kind of slog it out, go take a look. Those experiences are pretty universal. So.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to switch over to the balcony very quickly. Apparently, you leaving on the your tab being unmuted, they had something to say about that. Now that was funny. Oh, that wasn't.
Well, deserved there. So.
There we go. We may return to the balcony, see what they have to say a little bit later. Okay, I'm gonna just move ahead then, unless you have anything else to say on that.
No, if we keep going on, we're gonna be getting into that kick a dead horse kind of territory.
And spoilers, trying desperately not to talk about what they were talking about. Anyhow, so I'm gonna move on. Just a little bit of promotion. I'm actually going to England, and I've got a couple of shows lined up. Doing a private house concert, invite only. And it's going to be outdoors, and I don't know how many people will turn up. It's a pretty big. I know the place, so it's big. It's my sister's place, so it's a big long backyard in Fareham. So if you're in Fareham, and for those of you not sure what that is, it's in Hampshire, right on the coast, the south coast. And yeah, so if you're walking around the east end of Fareham, you'll probably hear it, no doubt, 'cause it's going to be outside. And we'll probably make it shut down by the police because I don't know if that's legal or not. But anyhow, it'll be a lot of fun. If it's raining, I assume we'll be indoors. in which case you won't hear us unless you're walking past the house. So Ryan's actually, I'm leaving Ryan at home, so it'll just be me. Ryan refused to come.
Refused. I don't think I can afford to go to London or England at this point.
Yeah. And I've got another show booked in Yorkshire. Here we go. I'm going to put it up. Oh, there we go. So it's at the Jolly Tap, a Real Ale Cafe. It's in Wakefield in Yorkshire there. So I think I've got the details. Where is it? So yeah, it's 43 Northgate in Wakefield. So you can go check that out if you're in the area. Catherine, I don't know how far away you are from there, but I think I looked up Fleetwood and it said about an hour and a half drive. That might be too far if I got the right Fleetwood. I don't know if there's more than one, but
Springfield. Let's try that again. Fleetwood is like Springfield in the States, right? There's like one in every.
I don't know, but there's at least one band that features that name.
Okay, well there you go.
Yeah. So we've got what was I going to say? So the show will start at 8:30 p.m. local time, and if I can, I'll live stream it. So it depends if we've got Wi-Fi access or anything. So I'm not. Well, data will kill me. I think we'll end up with no house if I live stream it on my data plan in the UK. It's been opened by the wonderful Bandwagon, and I've actually listened to some of the tunes. Some really nice close harmonies, has a country feel to it. And I've decided to actually cater my sets for that as well, opening with some of we got like 2 or 3 songs with a country bass, and I get kind of going to open with with those as well. I think what was it? Dancing in the Rain, So Glad, and a couple other tunes that we've done, as well as the old favourites as well.
Yeah, wow.
Oh, Fleetwood is outside Blackpool.
That was one of my favorite songs that we used to perform.
So Catherine's just saying Fleetwood is outside Blackpool. It's been so long now. Been here 30 years. I'm going to go look on the map. I know it's north. Anyhow, the Jolly Tap. I don't think there's too much more to say about that other than please, if you're in the area, come along. If you want to really make me feel good, buy a ticket and fly over there. That would be great too.
Or buy a ticket so I can fly over there.
That too, yeah, that'd be good. But then I'll have to split the money with you. I usually do. Come on.
Well, it all depends. I think I might be just. I wouldn't have a vehicle and no other way to get around, so I'd have to be relying on you. So you'd be getting all the money anyways.
As I should.
Give me all the money.
Give me all your money. Yeah. That reminds me of Bob Geldof from Live Aid. And he was being interviewed, and he's in this. I guess they were in the Wembley Stadium somewhere, and he's doing the promotion between the songs. He goes, he's getting really angry. He's like, Sandasha, give money. And he's like getting really angry and F bombing as well and everything. It was quite funny. Despite, we were playing in some a pub or two, I think, around that time too, wishing we were on there.
Oh, playing in Wembley? Yeah.
Yeah. One day I thought, but no, not anymore. They tore it down and replaced it, so we have new Wembley, which is way better.
All right. So Wembley 2.0. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. So
it's like some of the hotels that are going. The Albert here has apparently gotten a facelift in his. So. Yeah. I don't know. At one point, I had sort of aspired to play there, but I think that was more the metal band would have fit better. The Small Town Antics would have fit in right well.
Yeah, so for the private show as well, Gavin George is going to open. I haven't got absolute confirmation on that, but he hasn't said no yet. So Gavin George is, for those of you who would have heard me mention his name, is actually a co-writer on a number of It's All in the Mind songs. Moonlight Mist for one, Flesh and Blood for another, and then I got a solo song, which we do, It's All in the Mind as well, Don't Fly Away, and we do at least one of his songs, which is Lead Your Love Away. So very talented guy, my musical partner when I was living in England. We had many years of many creative moments. So maybe we can have him on the show at some point if we can work out the time.
Which would actually be good, because I've heard, obviously I'm heard and familiar with all his musical stuff, but Mark has told me loads of stories, and I'm sure it's gone the other way too. When he talks to Gavin, he's told all our sort of stories together, and so neither the two shall meet.
Well,
Mark is
maybe I don't want you to meet. It'd be like your current and your ex getting together, right?
I see.
Could be a bit odd, you know.
So here's my experience. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah.
Oh, that arsehole did that to you too.
Money, does he?
I don't think we rarely got paid. I think, as I recall. Anyhow, but it's been so long ago. We weren't doing it for the money, so I can't even remember. Yeah, we were doing it for the fun of being seen. Anyhow, so he's going to open, and yes, it'll be the first time that we both would be on the same stage in over 30 years. So that'll be a kind of a moment there too. So, and again, if we can live stream, then we will. It really depends on the Wi-Fi wherever we are. Okay, so that's my promo done for now. We are actually, while we're talking about promos, we'll move on to the final topic in just a second. But while we're here, let's do this first. We'll just put the contact information up. So I've been a little lax in keeping the invisibleman.ca page up to date, but I'll get on that this weekend with my upcoming shows. You can contact us. All the previous shows are up, will be up there. The last show isn't yet. Again. But everything's available on YouTube. You can see on there, the invisibleman.ca/YouTube is the quickest way to get there. Because the easiest way, the other way is a big hash now. We have to get like 100 subscribers before we get a custom name now. Yeah, so contact us, email info@theinvisibleman.ca as well. There's Phil's new radio show website, so virtuosityworldwideradio.com/The Colorado Phil Show. You can check that out. And of course, me and Phil are both on Twitter. Go check us out. Phil's more active than I am, and we're both more active than Ryan.
At Groupile 82 has not been active for like at least 5 years.
I think I've mentioned you a few times, just so I had something to mention.
Well, I put up a poll on our event page one week. Should I activate my Twitter again? Yeah. And I got no responses, so I
couldn't find it. So maybe that's part of the problem.
Well, yeah, that's probably it. So there you go. Maybe I'll put it up there sometime this weekend.
You should declare it when you do a poll. You should declare a default. If it's a tie, then you'll do. Then maybe that will motivate people.
Yeah, even if it's a tie.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we'll talk just very briefly, very quickly about a show idea. We haven't actually fleshed it out yet, but do you want to take that one over there, Brian? All
right. So it's still pending a title. So we'll undoubtedly come up with something clever for it. But basically, if you're fans of the show and you've been paying attention, and have looked up any information about Colorado Phil, or even looked in, or just listened to some of our discussions, it's very clear, as you can see by my T-shirt that I'm wearing here. It says Wayland Yutani Corp. That is a huge reference to the Alien franchise, and it's just an offhanded little joke. It's a total nerdy sci-fi joke, and I'm
not nerdy enough, right? Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if you're not a fan of the Alien series, it's going to go right over your head, right? They're the big evil corporation that sends the original ship off to downship where the alien comes from. So see there, you learned something about a very popular science fiction franchise. Anyway, so the idea is that we are going to discuss something of a little bit more, not necessarily sci-fi, but sort of a stranger than truth, or truth is stranger than fiction kind of aspect of it. Yep. So when I was actually in holidays on this year, where were we? It was on Vancouver Island. We're heading up to like the north part of the shore, and I happened to drop by like this little cafe rest stop, and it had a big sign on it that said "Got Bigfoot," like the got milk kind of joke. And I instantly took a picture, and as soon as I got cell phone footage or coverage, I sent it to our group chat, and Phil loved it, right? Because Phil loves things like Bigfoot and UFOs and all that stuff. So we're going to have a kind of forum where the three of us will discuss ad nauseum a topic of choice, be it things like Bigfoot or anything that would fall into that stranger than truth is stranger than fiction kind of category. Again, working on getting source material and composing a new theme for it and all that kind of fun stuff.
Yep.
So we're looking forward to doing that, and if we get a good response with that, we'll keep that going.
Yeah. So for those, so we've got. I'm not really sure. It's an interest that we all have, and I actually wrote a song which is on our CD, "Absolutely Crazy," which is, and I introduce it, and it's absolutely true that it is an Ancient Aliens inspired love song, and it really is. And I don't really take that show too seriously, but I do love that show. It is a lot of fun, and usually those kind of pseudo documentaries, I love watching those from time to time when I'm not watching superhero movies and sci-fi.
So even that, we might look at just how the evolution of sci-fi, right? Like if you look at, say, like turn of the century sci-fi, where they're talking about zeppelins and shooting guns at the moon to get to the moon. Well, now we've been there and keep going back, and Mars is in our target site for, in 50 years to have people boots on the ground or sooner. Things like that. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about like the evolution of the car with Elon Musk and SpaceX and Tesla and just kind of that realm of weirdness, right? I mean, that's all cutting edge technology, but that's, if someone said to you 10 years ago, oh, well, the guy who invented PayPal is going to create a rocket that can land again.
Yeah.
You're out of your mind,
yeah.
right? Like, it's not. Why does some internet nerd care about that? Well, he does. Why not, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, we got Jules Verne and H.G. Wells and all that other stuff, and there's no doubts that The Invisible Man, even though it is a song about unrequited love, there was definitely a lot of H.G. Wells. And when I was creating the video, I read that book a couple of times through while I was making that video. For figuring out how do I want to design the face, and I almost decided to call him Griffin after the character. I figured, well, maybe that might be pushing it. I don't know if that's public domain or not yet. So I figured out he's not Griffin. He's just called. His first name is Invisible, and his last name is Man. It's in case you're wondering. With two N's.
Was that his original? Was that his original appearance with us, The Invisible Man?
Yeah,
was it the Man video?
No, yeah, we have it was one of my early videos. It's you can see how amateurish it is now compared with the professional stuff I'm doing. But I'm also doing a video for Loose as well, and that's coming on really, really well. And it's some of the best stuff I've ever done. And which usually every video, pretty much every work of art that I think we work on is the current one is always better than what's come before as well. But it's all part of the fun.
Yeah, in most cases, that's it, right? I mean, I even think of like the earliest stuff that we had written together versus the stuff that we eventually put on the CD and then started writing after the CD. Yeah. It just gets better, right? As you practice and hone your craft. So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So there's a whole slew of topics there, like everything from science fiction to pseudoscience to fantasy, whatever. But it'll be in that. What are you calling it? Crazier than fiction.
True. Like it's going to be. I imagine I'm going to title it or try and come up with a working title. It's something around "The Truth is Stranger Than Fiction." Right. I mean, I have to be careful because I don't want to say Stranger Things because that's a hit YouTube, hit Netflix thing. But even that idea of like themes of experimental drugs and government experience, cover-ups and all that's going to fit right in there. Conspiracy theory is not out of the realm. Now, we're not really conspiracy theorists, and if you're a flat earther and you think that you're going to find a home here, keep looking because you will be mocked.
Climate change is real. Okay, there we go.
Like those kind of things we don't have a real love for because those are definitively, there is no conspiracy theory there. But if you want to argue things about UFOs and the ability or the possibility of extraterrestrial stuff, that's right up our alley. We'll talk all the day about that because there is no definitive way to conclusively prove that because of so many factors. But that is a topic for another day. another show.
And just to be clear, so that's going to be a whole new show with a. I'm not sure what day or time it'll be, but it'll be a different show and it'll be a different feel and look, I hope. Although this show I kind of realize is probably as much more like a musical Maya than our usual Invisible Man show. But we were actually spending time promoting independent musicians at the beginning, which is what this show is really all about. So the musical Maya is more about things that concern musicians and the difficult questions and that kind of thing. And then this other show is going to be unrelated. It's just something the three of us want to do.
Yeah, exactly. There might some music stuff is always going to creep in, right? I mean, there's crepes. You must be hungry.
Well, it's lunchtime.
Yeah, but we'll talk about stuff like that. We'll talk. It's just meant for fun. It's just another project. That's all.
Okay. Actually, is there anybody online? I can only see the chat. I can't see if there's the names of people there. If anyone there, we should shout out. Catherine, of course, who's been busy chatting online. I see.
Yeah. Apparently, okay. Let's see.
Yep.
Well, there's a Warren Friesen. I'm sorry, Warren, we missed you.
Oh, hey, hey Warren. Oh, actually,
that was on a little while ago. We're glad that you could join us. Catherine, yes, it has been going. Apparently, I should get my Twitter up and running according to Catherine. So I have at least one follower.
Yep. And I could be more frequent anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's probably a good place to end. We'll put up the contact information again. Just for those of you who may have missed it or are watching this online and decided to skip ahead for some reason. So the invisibleman.ca is where it links to pretty much everything. Colorado Phil's show can be found on worldwideradio.com. And the other stuff is you're obviously watching this live. You know about the Facebook stuff. Some of you are watching it on my personal stream. Others are watching it on the It's All in the Mind band and the Colorado Phil show. And we talked about Twitter. Go check us out. We will. There we go. Okay, so I think that's probably a good place to end. Any closing thoughts, Ryan?
Just give us your money.
No, I don't mean literally. I mean say them out loud.
No, we're looking forward to the new, possibly test running this new show, getting some new material for it, and continuing on. We're slowly but surely gaining some support from all you people out there. We make this show just for you guys out there because we love you, and
that's true. But we do it because we love to do it too.
Yes, and we love doing it.
These shows are a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're great fun. It's always good to see Phil and Mark. Phil couldn't make it with us today, but yeah, we make the show for our fans. We make it because we love doing it. Oh. So keep supporting us, keep telling your friends, keep tuning in, and we'll keep giving you content. Okay,
so the next show is going to be maybe the last week in October, September. But we'll be doing the shows regularly again in October, and we're publicizing those dates once they've been firmed up. Thank you very much for everybody for joining us. It's been a lot of fun. My name is Mark Davis Stallard. This is Ryan Janz. I always get confused with that, left and right.
Oh no, there we go. Ow. Yeah, it's this one. There we go.
And thank you very much, and we'll catch you all very soon. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Oh.